All right, boys and girls, section 2-3, subtracting integers. And what we have here on page 93 is, it's called subtracting a positive integer. So really we just have subtraction signs in there, and this is not going to be any different than you learned last section. I mean, I'm basically teaching you the same thing here. There will be something I'll add in next example though. So when we see 8 minus 13, I hope if you're good at this, you think -5. That should be the answer. Alright, now basically with that, you got 13 minus 8 is 5, but 8 minus 13 is -5, right? You're doing it backwards. But that's the subtracting part, and what I don't want us to think about here is, I don't want us to think about subtracting or adding or all these crazy little rules. What I want you to do is, like we did in last section, you have a positive 8 first. So I want you to write R8, which stands for write 8. Then you have minus 13 or negative 13. Any minus or negative, we go left. So to solve these problems, and you'll get better at it, you'll know the answer is -5, but what you have to get good at is counting these out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I went right 8. Now I'm going to go left 13, but I'm right here. So if I go left 8, I'm back at 0. Right? I don't have to count all the way back to 0. I know from 8 to 0 there's 8, so I've already went left 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and we're trying to figure out what that is. That is -5. It's where you end up is your answer. Okay? So let's keep moving on down here. Now -4 minus 10, I hope you think -14. The answer is not -6 or +6. And this is what we do, all right? -4, that means to go left 4. Negatives or minuses, we go left. And then it says -10 or -10, so we go left 10. Now this is where your common sense should pick up. All right, we're going to go left 4, then we're going to go left 10. All right, what's happening as you go this way? You went left 4, then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Guys, all you have to do to get to that point is really just add the 4 and the 10. And I'm not going to give you a rule to add or subtract. What I want you to do is just do the number line. You went left 4, you start at 0, go left 4, and then you went left 10. You ended at -14. So as you do the left and right more often, you'll be able to pick that up pretty easy, all right? So now we've got example 2 on page 94, kind of part way down the page there. We've got an A and a B. All right, now I hope what you're seeing here as you notice these is you have this minus negative on both of them. You have a double negative back to back. Now this has been talked about, but here is what you should look to do. All right, anytime we see a minus negative back to back right beside each other, what I'm going to do is make that a plus sign. So now both of those minus signs are gone. The parentheses, you don't even care about that really. The end parenthesis is not really even there either. So I mean, it basically now says 7 plus 3. Now I don't need a number line to figure that out. I know the answer is 10. But just to keep things in mind, that would be going right 7 since it's positive 7. And then it says plus 3. We go right 3. So if you do that, starting at 0, make sure you always put that 0 on your number line. And then go right 7. There's 7. And then you go right 3 more. You end at positive 10. All right, now on the other one, again, we have a minus negative. Now, I'm not talking about the negative in front of the 2. I'm talking about the 2 minus signs that are back to back. They're right beside each other. There's not a number in between them. Like we had on example number 1 said -4 minus 10. That's not a double negative. There's a 4 in between the negative and the minus. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back in the video or flip your page back. You'll see. There's a 4 in the middle of that negative and minus. That's not a double negative, but this one is. The negative and the minus are right beside each other. So we take that as -2 plus 4. Now, this is where I hope you're not thinking -6. The answer is actually positive 2. positive 2, and I'll show you why. Negative 2 means left 2. Then it says plus 4. Remember, adding or positive numbers means go right. So left 2, right 4. Again, down here at the number line, I start at 0, go left 2. Now I'm here. And then I'm going to go right 4. So I'm right here, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you can see, I ended at positive 2. Okay, now the middle step I didn't write down here should have been, this step should have been written right there, and then you write left 2, right 4. All right. Okay, example 3, page 94. This says the table shows the record high and low temperatures in selected states as of a recent year. What is the range? Which means, you know, ranges, that's just highest minus lowest. And then it says or, which basically repeats what I just said. The difference, and we all know difference means subtract, difference between the highest and lowest temperatures for Virginia. Now, I've already wrote it down. You don't even have to look at the rest of the chart because Virginia says the low temperature was negative 30 and the high was 110. We're trying to figure out the difference between them. So I put them on a number line here. You always have to know where 0 is at. You always got to have 0 on a number line so you know where everything's at. But we're trying to find the difference between them. And difference obviously means subtract. So when we find the difference between these, here's what it should look like. I'm going to take 110 and I'm going to subtract what? I hope you're thinking negative 30. I'm not subtracting 30. This negative here is from there. This subtraction is the word difference in the problem. We're subtracting 110 and we're subtracting negative 30. Those are my two numbers. Now what does that create? We just learned in example 2. Whenever you have a minus negative, it turns into a giant plus sign. So really this says 110 plus 30, which I know we all know what that is, right? You get 140 is the range. That's the difference between the highest and lowest temperatures. If we look over here on the number line, again, from 110 to 0, that's 110, and then from 0 to 30 is another 30. So there you're adding 110 plus 30 again and showing that it has a difference of 140. And 4A on page 95, all right, this is one of those plugging in the number and then solve it. We just did this in chapter 1, but now we're throwing in negatives and double signs and all that stuff. So it's more important. We have to write down x minus negative 6, and then on the next line we have to plug in what it says x is. So instead of writing x, I now write 12 minus negative 6, which I know what to do with a minus negative. I make it a plus, and then underline the step, or I think Mrs. McMillan or other teachers sometimes teach it with this arrow or triangle or whatever. 12 plus 6 is 18. So that should be the answer. Make sure you write that down. And last example before you start some assignments here is 4B, still on that same page. It says A minus B plus C if A equals 15, B equals 5, and C equals negative 8. So again, we're going to plug these in. First thing this says is A, so I'm going to write down what A is. A is 15. Next it says minus sign, so I'm going to write down the minus sign. Next thing it says is B. B is 5. After B it says a plus sign, right there, and then after the plus sign is a C, so I write negative 8. Don't let a minus sign, you know, in a problem make you not write down a negative sign, right? Those are two separate things. If, you know, the C was after the minus sign, you would have wrote minus negative 8. But, you know, in this case, it was a plus sign, and then it was C, so it's plus sign, and then whatever C is, which is negative 8. So don't just take it out just because you think there's a minus sign already. I hear a lot of questions on that, and they thought this, and it really, that's not the case, all right? So just plug in everything exactly how it gives you, and then just start to solve. So as I solve here, first thing you should notice, that's from yesterday's, we've got a double sign. We've got this plus negative, And we should have all learned this last time. We scribble out the plus sign. All right, so now what does it say? It says 15 minus 5 minus 8. Now, once we've gotten rid of all double signs like that, then we go back to the rights and lefts, all right? So this whole last two sections, we're not learning how to add and subtract, although technically that's exactly what we're doing. What we're learning how to do is go right and left. So we're not adding, subtracting, we're lefting and righting. And that's, I think, I want to ask you guys that in class. I hope you can repeat that. All right, so we've got positive 15. That means go right 15. If you're not able to write it down, visualize it. You went right 15 or you went up 15 if it's an up and down chart. Then you've got a negative 5 or a minus 5. That means go left 5. So now you're at positive 10. If you're at positive 10 and then you subtract 8, that's the same as going left 2, and you should end at positive 8. Go ahead and write that out on a number line so you can see it for yourself. Move your pencil over 15 to the right, then 5 to the left, then left 2, and you end at positive 8. Good luck.